Hello, today's lesson is about declaring and initializing variables. In the previous lesson, you guys learned about variable types. You learned about a string variable, an int variable, which would be whole numbers, a double variable, which would be numbers with decimal points, or anytime you're using any money values. And finally, you learned about a char variable, which is either a single letter or a single symbol. So now we're going to talk about how do you declare and initialize those variables in programming. So declaring a variable simply means you tell the computer what type of variable are you going to store. Are you going to be storing a string variable, so like letters, names, or is it going to be an int, a whole number, or is it going to be a double where it's a decimal point? Initializing means that you give it a starting value. What's the value initially of that variable when you start? You don't need to initialize a variable at the beginning, but you do need to declare it before you can use it. Here's an example of how to declare a variable. So I have a variable called x, and it's going to be a double variable. It's going to store a value that might have a decimal point in it. This is initializing it. I say x is equal to 1.6. Now I can declare and initialize in the same line, and I'll show you that in future slides. If I want to use a string variable, I do the same thing. I say string, and my variable name in this case is H for hello. Notice string is capitalized. Int and double and char are all lowercase, but string has to be capitalized. And you need to make sure when you're using your variables that you use the right either capitalization or lowercase. So the variable H is declared to be a type of string. And then I'm going to initialize it to hello. So you can see I've declared it and initialized it in the same statement. You can declare more than one variable on one line as long as they are all the same variable type. So if I'm using doubles, I can declare them all on one line. Notice I only use double one time, and then I separate each one with a comma. And in this case, I'm just declaring the variables. I'm not setting them equal to any kind of value. In this next line of code, I'm declaring a variable and setting it equal to a value for all of them except for z, u. And you can do that. You can declare some and you can declare and initialize other ones. If you notice again, I only use double once and I separate each variable type with a comma. In the when you assign the operator, the variable type and the variable that you want to use needs to be on the left side. The value you are assigning it to needs to be on the right. You cannot switch it to 3 equals I. I know it works that way in math, but it doesn't work that way here. So the equal sign needs to be the value that you're assigning it to needs to be on the left side, and the value you want it to be equal to needs to be on the right side. So remember that. Here's an example, double P, double J equals 4.72. Notice this one I'm just declaring, this one I'm declaring and assigning. P equals J, that's taking the value from J and assigning it to P now. So now P is equal to 47.2 as well. If I did an int, it would not allow me to do that because an int is a whole number and 47.4 would need to be a double. I can, however, do a double as an integer number. That's okay. So what do we have to do for today? Remember to answer your daily questions so you get marked for attendance. If you have any questions, problems, or need additional help, email me or your other instructors, and do something kind for someone. The next lesson we'll be working on will be naming your variables. Have a great day.